Hey y'all, welcome back to Tessie Talks. Today's topic is about working as a lawyer in-house. Now that I'm working in-house, I realized that I had some misconceptions about what that role is. Maybe not so much what the role is, but what it's like. There's a narrative, and there's a way that people speak about in-house when you're in law school and even when you first start working in big law. Before I get into the meat and potatoes, I like to start with what I'm reading. So what I'm reading currently, I don't have the physical book with me. I'm sorry, I forgot it when I was leaving out the door, but it's called Black, Brown, Bruised. I got it from a conference that I went to in February. Right now, we should be on the moon and stuff, if we actually gave everybody resources and stuff. I will probably put the name of the book, the full name of the book, and the author down below, because I'm I can't believe I can't remember it. But yeah, anyway, all that aside, if you don't know, I am in a new job. I've been there for 2 months and I'm working at an in-house media and entertainment company. I have noticed that some things are not what people think. Biggest misconception I've noticed. I had this same misconception. So let me just set it up really quickly. When I was leaving my big law job, I was really worried about not feeling fully prepared to transition into the media and entertainment space, because the role that I'm working in now was advertised as, licensing and understanding radio and music and copyright and releases and live events, all these things I have never done before, okay? And so I was just ooh, okay. And I thought that an in-house role, they don't really train you, because the propaganda in law school is that you got to go into big law because that's where you get the best legal training, also where you get the money. But even beyond money, in-house, they don't have the resources to train you. Now that I'm in-house, I see why people say that, but I think that the misconception that it gives is that they don't train you in-house, which has not been my experience. I don't know, maybe if you go to a startup, maybe it's a little bit different. But, this company is pretty big. There's multiple departments and stuff like that. And so I've been trained to death. I had a call with my manager and she was just do you feel well trained? And I was like, yes, absolutely. I feel like y'all are training me to the core, every topic, everything I want. Even I can suggest topics and they'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll find a person to do that training for you. I go through my agreements with one of my managers in painstaking, what's the phrase? Y'all know what I mean. We go through the agreements in detail and we talk about line by line what I changed, why he would do something differently, tips for the future, just the ultimate level really of training me for how to do my job, which honestly is the other end of the spectrum from when I got to my second law firm job. So y'all might not know if you're new, this is my second time doing a practice pivot. So at first I was doing capital markets, it's stocks, bonds, loans, things like that. Then when I went to my second firm, that firm is a tech, venture capital, startup kind of firm. The work was really, really different. It was a whole different way of practicing. When I was interviewing, I told them what my skills were. I told them the areas that I understood and stuff like that. And they were fine. So I thought oh, y'all know I've never done this before, so maybe y'all gonna be holding my hand a little bit. But that wasn't the case. They were boom. I got there and I was kind of expected to teach myself everything. They had portals where you can watch videos and train yourself and things like that, but it was a very self-guided process. They didn't have a lateral focused training. Sometimes they would be oh, you should hop into the trainings that we do. I think I was the second year when I lateraled. So they're hop into the trainings that we do for the first year. So I would go to those and things like that. But there's a difference between watching videos on Zoom and being in an actual deal or having an actual assignment. Have someone explain things to you in real time. It's a very different experience. So at my second firm, even though I was in a new practice area, I felt I needed to figure things out on my own. I needed to understand things on my own, because all my deals and during my assignments, people really weren't training me like that. That wasn't really a part of the culture. And so I thought that going in-house was gonna be like that times 10. So I actually had someone who offered to support me in my new role. She does music and entertainment and things like that. And so she has more familiarity with these topics than I do. And she's oh, don't worry, when you get to your new job, if you ever have a question about something, you don't know how something works, you're trying to figure out how this new area works, call me and I'll help you. And I think the reason that she offered that, and shout out to you for offering that, I think she watches the videos. And if you watch this, you know I'm talking about you. So I was oh my God, thank you. And I thought I was really gonna need that, and I think she probably thought I was gonna need that too, because that's just what we think. That's what they tell you in the legal field. And now that I'm at a new job, I'm I have never needed to ask her a single question. And not because I think I know everything, I definitely don't. I'm still learning every single day. But I have people in my job who are hit me up if you have questions. And it's not all lip service. It's not just let me know if you have questions. It's hop on this call with me real quick so I can go over this with you. That's a whole different thing, because in big law, my experience was some people fake the support and they're oh yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. Never available, super mean, super cold, super standoffish. So you never want to go to them. And so it made me wonder, do they really mean that? Like, do they really want me to hit them up if I have a question? One myth that I want to just bust right now is that you stop being trained when you go in-house. At least that hasn't been my experience. Caveat I want to put though is that the youngest lawyer or the least experienced lawyer, we are all like 4th year associates. There's another person that started with me. We were 4th year associates in big law. They're not just taking you straight out of law school, but it's not impossible. I've also met people that went straight in-house. One of my mentors, she went straight in-house. She has never worked in big law. She's been working in media entertainment since she graduated from law school, and she started at a media and entertainment company. She's never worked in big law at all. I do think there's like valuable training that I did get in big law when it comes to some of the soft skills, managing different clients, which is gonna be my second myth. Drafting and just knowing what sounds like a contract and what doesn't. Like, there's some things you can say in a contract that sounds like, oh, a lawyer wrote this. So an example would be, you wouldn't say, you're allowed to drive my car, but don't bump into anyone on the road. That's maybe what someone who, doesn't have the training and stuff might just write down, think it sounds fine. When you're a lawyer and you like actually have experience drafting contracts, you'll phrase it differently. You'll say like, you are granted herein the right to drive my vehicle, and then the next sentence will be like, notwithstanding anything herein, the owner is not responsible for blah, blah, blah. There's like a way to phrase it that makes it sound like a contract or whatever. That's something I learned in big law, doing M&A and seeing so many different documents. I know what sounds right and what doesn't sound right. And so there was some training that was useful. I can't confidently say that that's training that I only could have received in big law. Anyway, that myth is busted. I spent enough time on number 1, so let me go to number 2, which was that you stop having clients. I realized this when I was interviewing. People would say, I have one client that does this, I have one client that does that. And I was like, client, like, that doesn't make sense. You're not working at a firm, like, you just work at a company. How do you have clients? But I realize now that I'm in it, you still have clients. It's just a different dynamic. As an in-house lawyer, your clients become the other departments within the organization. And this is all, for context, this is all from the perspective of someone that's still working at a large organization. So for example, one of my clients would be like the visuals team, the music team, business strategy team, the audience team. They all need different agreements. They all do different deals. A deal that our strategy team would be working on to grow our audience is going to be different than a visuals team. They're going to be working with a photography company to make sure we have rights to their photos, which will be different from a deal that we do with a record label because we want to use their music to play on our podcast, whatever. Those are just examples, but you still have different clients and different deals and different matters, as you would call them in big law, that you're juggling. This is a misconception that I had. I don't know if it's I had it. So maybe y'all gonna watch this and be like, girl, we already knew that, but I doubt it. But it's still client services. It's a different dynamic once again, because it's not like your clients are paying you. You don't have to track your time. Happy you don't have to track your time, because that whole process is horrible. You're not billing out these clients and having them pay you per hour. But they are still clients. Like, you're still trying to manage those personalities, understand who your clients are, understand what the timelines are, and juggle those different competing deadlines. And so there's still a time management aspect to working in-house. I think people think, oh, I'm gonna go in-house, and I don't know, I think people just think it's gonna get really, really simple. For me, so far, that hasn't been the case. So that's my second myth. All right, what's my third one? Because I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, resources. So my third myth is resources. We have paralegals, staff assistants. We still redline documents. All those little things that we used to do in big law. We still have a document management system. Firms I worked at, we use iManage. Here we have a different system, but same idea, where you track documents and you have forms. Oh my God. You have form documents. I don't know why I didn't think I would have form documents once I went in-house, but they're still form documents. So you're still drafting contracts with a reference point. There are a lot of materials where people have written down what the company's practices are. That's another thing that I didn't expect. Maybe my expectations were just like, I wouldn't say low, but I was just like, oh, this is gonna be completely different. Like, this is not a law firm where everything is catered to the lawyers and making their job easier. So there's gonna be a lot less resources. And like, to an extent, that's true. Everything is not catered to the lawyers because we are not the main show of like the company at all. But we still have resources to get our job done. We still have a PLI account, which is something I use a lot in big law. That's a site that helps you get your CLE credits, and you can watch different programs just to learn about new topics. I watched those videos a lot when I was trying to apply for a job, and I would list all the courses on my resume and say like, I have all these CLE courses, and it'd be stuff in like media and entertainment just to show like I have an interest. And so I was really happy that we still have free access to that. You have free access to the media law library, something like that. I can't remember the exact name. But yeah, that's it for me. Just wanted to say that there are some things that people are saying about being in-house that's just not true. So my next video is gonna be about the general counsel track. I did a video about the partner track and whether I was on the partner track. I did it a few months ago and y'all really liked it. Now that I'm in-house and general counsel is the top dog of the legal department in-house, as opposed to like a partner is like the top dog when you're in a law firm. And so it's a good time to do general counsel track, talk about whether I'm on it, talk about what that is, how you become general counsel and stuff like that. So if you have questions about how do you become a general counsel, what is that, what do they do, whatever, drop them down below so I can address them in my next video. Thank y'all for watching and I will see y'all next time. Bye.